Yo, it's good, man. I told y'all I was gonna do that Mayweather Cotto vid. I mean, yo, yesterday that shit was a good fight, man. You know, it didn't go the way I was thinking it was gonna go. I thought Cotto was gonna get stopped in 8. I thought he would be stopped by the 8th round. And I'm gonna tell y'all this. He still could have got stopped in the 8th round. Yesterday showed me a lot of things about Mayweather, man. And I don't know about a lot of y'all, but when I watch boxers fight, especially the top the top contenders, the top fighters, the elite fighters, you know, I look for these guys to show me things. I look for things that, probably the other person didn't see. And what I seen from Mayweather yesterday, like, I'm real questionable as to if this guy was to ever lose, how would he lose? Just how would this guy take a L if he was to ever take a L? Because I I really, like, if you watch that fight, Mayweather fought in order for him to get the knockout. He fought the wrong fight. He fought in Cotto's favor. Like, Cotto literally had his head in his chest like 75% of the whole fight. And that's Cotto's domain. In close quarters, and not really just in the pocket, but with his head in his opponent's chest. There's a difference between just being close and actually having his head in his opponent's chest, and leaning on his opponent, and because it causes that shit requires a lot of energy, because it can really tire you out. It causes Cotto to use less energy, and Mayweather to use more. And look at that fight. Like, don't just take my word. Look at the fight. Come the 12th round, Cotto was more gassed than Mayweather. And Mayweather was the one that was being leaned on, that was being rested on, that was against ropes the whole fight, with the next fighter's head in his chest, trying to pound his body out. Cotto was the one that appeared more gassed. And anybody who watched Mayweather fights, that's the most closest to fatigue I ever seen Mayweather. I think in all the fights I've seen him in, that's the closest to it. And it has, some people say it's age. It has nothing to do with age. It was the style of the fight. Like, it was a lot of resting on, and that fight was a hard fight. You know what I mean? Cotto didn't stay on the outside. Cotto stayed on the inside with his head in his chest and tried to pound his body. And mind you, that whole fight, Mayweather's nose is bleeding, making it harder to breathe with that pressure that Cotto's putting on him. So just think about all the stuff that's against Mayweather's favor, and to still come out victorious in the fashion that he did. Like, that's fucking crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I can't think of no other fighter in the history of boxing that ever did some shit like that. None. And I can't say Ali, because I don't think Ali ever beat Ken Norton. I'm not going to say that, because I still, to this day, I haven't seen all of their third fight. But in their first 2 fights, Ali lost them shits, in my opinion. He lost both of them, just unanimous decision. You know what I mean? Like, when a fighter's style is just really not in your favor, and you have other obstacles working against you, and you could come out victorious in this fashion, that says a lot about you, man. As a fighter, that shit says a lot. And I'm a fighter. I'm a boxing fan that sees shit like that. That, you know, I look for shit like that. You know, when these fighters dig deep and show traits that they really an elite fighter, and it's not just what some commentators saying or trying to say. Like Mayweather proved yesterday, he's a real fucking elite fighter cut from a different cloth. He has a bloody fucking nose. He's being rested. He has this guy's head in his chest. I don't even know how much Cotto weighed last night coming into the ring. He has 10-ounce gloves on. And he's fighting this fight that's really in Cotto's favor, not his. And I was watching this video just now by Jay Dill, and he pointed something out that I was saying to myself too. Like Mayweather, he appeared so overconfident. So I want to say overconfident, but he appeared so confident in his ability that he just did things to cater to Cotto. Like, it's like he wasn't trying to cater to himself. He was just throwing punches to try to knock Cotto out while Cotto was fighting his fight. It's not like he tried to say, all right, I'm going to make this guy fight my fight, and then I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to knock him out fighting my fight. He tried to, he did it like the opposite way. You know, he'll put himself on the ropes because Cotto wasn't really backing him up. You know, if anything, I remember seeing times he's walking Cotto ass down. Cotto was reluctant to throw. He only wanted to throw when he had his head in his chest. And like Cotto doesn't really have a straight right hand, you know. Cotto's straight is his left jab. Like he uses that stiff ass jab as a straight itself. And that's the only thing that was successful for him. And I think I said this shit in a video. I was saying, yeah, people say Cotto has a good jab, but you can't win a fight with a jab. I feel that's impossible. No matter how good your jab is. Your jab is only to set up. And what you going to do after that? Like, honestly, what you going to do after that? Like, all those highlights of Cotto, he was throwing a stiff jab. You know, that shit is stiff as hell. Like, that shit is... So that shit is so fucking stiff, you would think it was a straight. But the shit was a jab. That's how fucking stiff that jab is, man. You know, like, motherfucking, that's all Cotto had that could have landed. Everything else would have got rolled and pretty much counted. Like, Cotto didn't want to, Cotto had a nice game plan. He had a game plan that surprised people and surprised me. You know, he didn't really want to exchange like that unless he was in a certain position. You know, sometimes he would even appear like a coward in the fight, but he knew what he was doing. You know, like I only seen the fight once, so of course I don't know the rounds off my head. But there's times when Mayweather was walking him down, and Cotto's just backing off, you know, because Cotto doesn't want to fight on the out. He doesn't want to take the risk of letting his hands go, and Mayweather's on his outside, because he know Mayweather would beat him on the hand speed and counter him. And Mayweather was trying to land combinations. Mayweather was even pot shotting him. So what he did, he made it that anytime I have this guy against the ropes, or anytime my head is in his chest, that's when I'm going to let my hands go. You know, I will get him concerned about other things, but all I'm really going to do is just snap his head back with my jab. And that shit is going to score me because he's already bleeding. He's already bleeding, so when I snap his head back with the jab, it's going to appear like I'm doing something way more that I'm really not. Like, all I'm really doing is hitting him with a jab. And you see the crowd reaction when Mayweather will get that stiff jab. Like, oh, oh, along with him bleeding, you know, that's territory that we don't see Mayweather in. So Mayweather already has his own standard of losing, you know. And to a Mayweather standard, some people will be like, damn, man, you lost. But he really dominated the motherfucker Cotto. Like, on paper, he really dominated Cotto. But, you know, Mayweather has his own standards. Mayweather's like, he has a standard. I'm not supposed to be hitting my face. You know, I'm not like other fighters. I do not get punched into my face. And that's a standard he set for himself. Mosley's standard is, I don't get knocked out. I'll take an ass whooping, but none of you guys is going to knock me out. You know? The day somebody knocked Mosley out, no matter how, like, even though Mosley's 40, people going to remember that guy because, like, this dude took a lot of ass whoopings now, and he still never got knocked the fuck out. You know? Mayweather showed me a lot yesterday, man, that he could really resist adversity. He could really resist adversity, you know. And he could come out victorious. And for the idiots that's saying, oh, I know we're gonna see it. We're gonna see, oh, I can't wait to see what Pacquiao do to him. I'm real glad the fight went this way because it brought back that energy to the fight. You know? It brought back that idea that Pacquiao could beat Mayweather. Because Lord knows we need that to make this fight fucking happen. We need that shit, regardless. We need people to really think Pacquiao has a chance to make that fight happen. I don't want when the fight to happen, the fucking Pacquiao's a 7-1 underdog. I want it to be, you know, relatively close so a lot of people could get their heart broken. When people see how Mayweather makes this shit look easy. Because what you got to understand is styles make fights. Pacquiao does not fight like Cotto. At all. Pacquiao is not bullying around anybody. That's not Pacquiao's style. Pacquiao doesn't even clinch like that. Him and Mayweather would be on the outside of each other, and Mayweather would just be rolling his flurries off and countering the shit out of him with right hands. And attacking his body up, softening his belly to get him out of there by like the 8th round. Yo, I tell you motherfuckers, y'all in for a treat when them two motherfuckers step in that ring, man. I know it's gonna happen, man. It's going to happen. The person that can make this fight happen is Tim Bradley. As if Tim Bradley doesn't sell out and compete in a fixed fight like everybody else that Pacquiao's been fighting lately. If Tim Bradley was to lose to Pacquiao but put Pacquiao in a tough fight, like let's say Tim Bradley was to beat Pacquiao like Marquez did, and then they robbed Tim Bradley. Bob Arum, he has no choice but to make the fucking fight happen because his fighter is looking bad, and his stock is going down, and people's interest is going away. So I think what Tim Bradley does in June is going to determine who Pacquiao fights next. We all know Mayweather's open to fight that faggot. The ball is in their hand. You know what I mean? But like a lot of people, I seen videos. Some people say Mayweather look like he's slowing down, or that's not the case. If anything, Mayweather was probably so. I think he was so. He was so comfortable thinking that Cotto was gonna fight him a certain way, or that his certain things he was gonna do was gonna be successful, that he just ended up fighting Cotto's fight because that's what he did. Like, just look at the 12th round. Although Cotto was wearing down, Once look through every round. Once Mayweather got on the outside and had Cotto in front of him now, so where he could use lateral movement and pick Cotto apart. Just look how the fight would go. Like, Cotto would have no fucking answer. Like, absolutely no answer. And it'll just be a matter of time before the punishment accumulates and he gets stopped. But he just allowed this dude Cotto to really fight in his chest. I don't know if the blood of him bleeding made that competitive side come out and say, all right, let me see what you could really do to me. Because I'm not gonna let you partially try to do it to me. Let's see if you could really get me out of here. You know, it looked like Mayweather was curious himself how good are you? Because that's the impression I was getting. It looked like he was so confident in his abilities that he's saying, I know this guy cannot do nothing more. Let's see what he could do. That's the impression I was getting. Because the spurts where Mayweather would say, all right, I'll let you have your fun. It's my turn. Cotto would appear dominated and he will have no answer to Mayweather's attack. No answer at all. You know, check the fight out. Like, don't just take my word. You know, you can listen to this video and then watch the fight. And you'll see everything I'm saying is true. You know, it appeared like Mayweather was just saying, all right, you know, you bloodied my nose. You landing the stiff jab that you said you want to use. What's next? What else you got for me? You know? And the thing is, Mayweather, man, he looks like he learns off of all his fights, man. And this was like a learning experience for him again. So I really don't know if that day was to ever come in his career, because he says he's only gonna box till 38 the latest. That's if he even fights to 38. I really don't know who or how that guy will lose, man. And the only threat I see in boxing right now for Mayweather is Canelo Alvarez, based off Canelo's style. I do not see Sergio Martinez as a threat. Sergio Martinez, all he does is throw straight combinations from the outside. And that's Mayweather's domain. You know, I see Mayweather rolling Sergio Martinez's punches off and countering them with short, straight right hands. And then attacking Martinez's body. Like, I don't see Martinez as a threat. I see that fight sort of easy. I don't see him stopping Martinez either. But I see the fight an easy unanimous decision. I don't see Canelo as an easy unanimous decision, because there's things I see in Canelo that could give Mayweather problems. Like that patience Canelo has is real intimidating, man. Because Canelo, you don't know, he could be setting you up for a big left hook when he appears like he's doing nothing. And Canelo hands is like, a lot of people, I was surprised with his hand speed last night. I was surprised with his fucking hand speed. The dude has a real good hand speed, man. With power on them shits. And he's a threat. You know? He had Mosley looking like, don't get me wrong. Do not mix up my words. He had, like, behavior-wise, he had Mosley looking like the younger fighter. And when I say that, like, Mosley was impatient. Mosley wasn't setting up his punches. Mosley was just trying to headhunt and land a bomb. Cotto was just, Canelo was just, walking him down patiently and finding his shots to land on this dude. And his land percentage in that fight was fucking sky high. This dude was just landing on Mosley like a motherfucker. Just landing on him. You know? I mean, Mayweather, man, he proved it to me once again last night. And like, yo, I don't see nobody in boxing beating that dude, man. I just don't see it. His biggest threat right now is Canelo, in my opinion. I don't see nobody else as a threat. Pacquiao is easy work. I mean, Pacquiao will be easy work. And I know Pac-Tars will say, yeah, didn't y'all say Cotto will be easy work? But in the back of my mind, I always had it that if a certain fight, if Cotto fights a certain fight, a certain grueling, um, like a physical fight, that it can make the fight appear competitive because everybody know Mayweather doesn't fight with size or pressure. That's not Mayweather style. Mayweather, he more likes to sharpshoot and use accuracy. He doesn't bully guys around and rough them up and fight those rough fights unless he has to defend himself out of them. But he's never the one actually doing it. So I always had in the back of my mind how the fight could portray. But I just had it that Mayweather would stay on, keep a distance and land bombs on Cotto and move around and use lateral movement on him and stop him by the eighth. And I still don't believe I'm wrong. I still believe that if Mayweather was to fight that way, he could have stopped him. But he was just, leaning on the ropes and rolling off punches and, just laughing with this guy and, he just didn't go for the, like, he was fighting. He was letting his hands go to knock Cotto out, but he wasn't putting Cotto in a position to get knocked out. If that's a better way to explain it. I'm gonna wrap it up right here, man. I mean, y'all leave y'all comments.